Never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. Never gonna lose, never gonna win. Long as you're happy, you're always gonna grin. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. You get out what you put in. I didn't see you dancing to the song, Lucy. How are you?
How are you? I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, where's Dermot?
He's disappeared.
Oh my goodness. Where's Dermot? See if we can get him. Hang on a second.
I'm here. I'm here.
Oh, there he is.
Where are you? Where are you?
Sorry. Being very troubled. That was not down to me. I can't claim the glory for that particular mistake. The ones which nobody's seen for the last 15 minutes are all down to me, but that one wasn't. So I'm here and ready to go, actually. And Lucy, of course.
You're coming live from Accountants North, eh?
Live from Accountants North, indeed. I'm here in a pleasant day in Manchester, I'm delighted to say. So I've just popped outside the hall. It's busy show, got a good buzz about it. Some familiar faces that we'll all know and love, and I'm pleased to say one or two new ones. And unfortunately for me, I am in a corporately branded T-shirt, which I did my best to get out of.
There's nothing wrong with corporately branded T-shirts, guys. Come on.
Yeah, but you have a nice slim figure to go inside said corporate branded T-shirt. I have a pleasantly plump and cuddly warm, built for the energy crisis we're all about to go into. So
Built for comfort, Dermot. Built for comfort.
Built for comfort, definitely not for speed. So yes, I'm doing my best to be slim, but failing miserably, because the allure, as anyone who's worked with me, like Ashley has, knows that the mere mention of sausage sandwich, cupcake, Cornish pasty means I'm immediately succumb to that invitation.
Like a moth to the flame.
Sounds fantastic.
Indeed.
So,
Indeed.
Guys,
Pleasantly plump.
Welcome back, Lucy. Welcome back, Dermot. You came on a couple of months ago because you had this amazing event coming, and it's been and gone. We had a little bit of an upset with the royal news. So tell us, how did it go, guys?
Oh, so it was very exciting. So we did deliver. Because of the Queen's passing, which was on obviously the funeral was on the 19th, and the event was taking place 21-22. We actually took it virtual, which meant we had a few interesting conversations with the hotel, which seemed to think that that wouldn't have affected anything, and we should have still been there in face to face. So the hotel itself could have been a bit more accommodating, but in terms of the actual event, then the content delivered by Lucy and the other speakers, so Steve Cunningham, Brian Coventry, Alexandra Bond-Burnett, Richard Brewin, was absolutely top notch and certainly hit the spot in terms of what we wanted to achieve. We wanted to, yes, have a few familiar faces, such as, Lucy, who, we only gave one speaking slot to. I know Lucy only normally insists on 4 speaking slots before she goes to a conference.
I don't get out of bed for less than 4.
Exactly. Quite right too. The levels you're at. But no, the content that was delivered was great. We had great feedback from the attendees. As I've said to other people, the attendee numbers were low, but having taken some advice and counsel from our good mutual friend Zoe Lacey Cooper, who of course grew Accountex to the size that it is now, and Caroline, who obviously has taken it on from Zoe and maintained that growth, then they both advised me that year one is a lot of a hard slog for not massive return. And indeed, those two wise ladies spoke very wisely, because that was indeed the effect. But we're happy for it. We built a brand, we got it off and running. Part of the reason for doing it was because too many people sit there and say, isn't the world grey, and what are we going to do to change it, and end up doing nothing. So myself and Richard, after having that conversation a couple of times, kind of looked at one another and said, we can't repeat this conversation ad nauseum, otherwise we're never going to do anything. We'll be retired. So we had a pop, we got it off and running, and we'll continue to do it.
Absolutely fantastic. I'm going to put you on mute a minute, Dermot, because there's an awful lot of everyone enjoying themselves. Lucy, are you suffering from FOMO?
that's quite enough from Dermot, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Keep him on mute.
but I don't know about you, but I'm really feeling FOMO. I don't know if you can wander around and it'd be nice to see Zoe.
Yeah.
If anyone's there, or who else did you want to see, Lucy? Maybe Dermot could go and find them for us.
Yeah, let's send him like challenge Annika. Let's send him running around in a unitard and see what he can find.
That would be funny.
Yeah, I am on a bit of FOMO, so I'm not going up to Manchester. Obviously, I'm not there. Here I am in my office. It was a couple of reasons. Firstly, Manchester is a proper schlep from where I am in Swansea, so it's got to be worthwhile. And I've done quite a lot of speaking this year, in-person events, and I'm up to the Accounting Web Live Expo 30th of November, 1st of December. So this isn't a plug, but I'm doing a lot up there, and just be quite careful with my energy. You can't do it all. Sometimes, my favorite word, boundaries. Sometimes you've got to say no to stuff. And alongside that, we've got a really busy time in the business. I said we've just taken on 8 sales team. So who are all
8 sales
in
Lucy.
one go.
Wow.
It's
having been a sales guy, and Dermot's managed sales guys like me. Good luck.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I'm very much feeling that vibe, to be honest. Ashley. Yeah, so it was just a lot. We've got a lot going on, and I just my team need me here at the moment. So that was the decision there, really. But I am massively getting FOMO watching Dermot amble around and see people. I'm a bit jealous, to be honest.
Yeah, all those hugs, all those high fives, all those catching up with people. So Dermot's just said what an amazing delivery you did at this event. How did it go? What are your thoughts as a practitioner as well?
Yeah, so for me, I think it was what it was always supposed to be. What it was always going to deliver was a more intimate experience than the kind of large-scale events you go to where you're one in a crowd of 100 and you
like the one Dermot's at now.
Yeah, and they're all great. They all serve their purpose. But I think in terms of that kind of intimacy and having access to the speakers, I think that's what it really delivered. And it allowed, as a speaker, when you're in that environment, the way that you present is slightly different. It's much more conversational. I'm not up on stage waving my arms around and leaping about. I'm engaging with people. I'm taking one-to-one questions. I'm kind of adding real value there. Not that I don't add value on the big stage, but I think it's just a different experience. And that's, for me, the kind of gold in it, is that you don't often get access to that set of experts, boldly classing myself as an expert, but you don't often get access to that and be able to take away all of those kind of nuggets of information in a controlled environment. I'll chat to people when I come off the stage usually, and it's usually a walk and talk, because I'm like, right, I've got 5 minutes, come with me to the next place I'm going and chat to me at the time, and then that's it. And it's quite kind of frenetic with this style of conference. It wasn't that. It was much more intimate. There was a time to talk. There was a time to counsel, and I thought that was really valuable. I really liked that.
Yeah, I love the time to counsel. How did you manage to get that into the mix?
Oh, have you unmuted me now?
Yeah, I have.
Oh, thank you. So in terms of getting that in, it was just the facilitation aspect, which, myself, I was the principal facilitator for most of the sessions, and it was just making sure that, I think when you're in this Zoom environment, especially when you've got a few people are involved in the session, it's making sure that you're giving people the opportunity to contribute, which, on one hand, you're giving them the opportunity to contribute, but you're also trying to keep them on the toes and making sure that they're aware that you are going to come to them, and therefore they are engaged with the whole process. So, whilst it wasn't Big Brother, it was twofold, really. By taking that approach, we made sure that they were all engaged, and when they were given the opportunity to question, confirm, or have another deeper understanding of what the speakers were talking about, then they took the opportunity. So I think it worked pretty well.
Oh, fantastic. And so, what are the key takeaways? I'll come to Dermot first, and then I'll come to Lucy. What are the key takeaways that the delegates got from this amazing event?
Okay, so I think for me, it's if I choose Steve Cunningham as just one of the speakers, then just to very briefly praise Steve. So Steve went blind at the age of 12. He kind of went off the rails to a certain degree for a couple of years, which is not completely unexpected. But then when he got poked in the chest by a professional footballer called John Burridge at Aston Villa, he got an incredible level of motivation and has subsequently run a very successful business. He played football for the England blind team. He's currently learning how to play golf, and I think his handicap is about 14. He's flown around Lake Windermere, in a plane on his own, and he's flown around the circumference of the UK on his own in a plane, and he's driven a boat across Lake Windermere faster than any other blind man. So, and Steve's whole kind of approach is, I'm not special, and if I can do it, you can. And so it's really quite a position.
When someone's up on stage saying that, you sort of like think, right, actually, I've got 2 eyes, I've got no excuse, have I? That is inspirational, isn't it?
Yeah, and as he says, look, I'm not special. He said, I just happen to have, and he had his dog Qantas there, which of course, easy way to get people on his side is to have the blind dog there, which you're obviously heavily involved with, Ashley.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They're guide dogs, not blind dogs, Dermot.
Well, sorry. You're quite right to pick me up. I hopefully people got the picture I was trying to paint, but you're quite right.
Everybody that comes up to me, is it a deaf dog or a blind dog? I said, it was neither.
Yeah.
Because they really wouldn't be much help.
That would be quite entertaining, wouldn't it?
When you've got someone kicking off an event like that, that really sets the tone for the whole event. I'm gonna mute you again, Dermot. Lucy, so what was your takeaway then from the event?
Yeah, so a different experience, obviously, as a speaker at it, in that my sense of it is more about how I felt people responded to it, and my kind of overarching feedback from it really was that they got that real value, and like Dermot said, that inspiration. So when it is that more intimate setting, I think the speakers are being a little bit more vulnerable. We're putting ourselves out there a little bit more, we're bearing a little bit more of our souls, and I'm always the first to admit every mistake I've ever made and talk openly about it, but you can do that in that more intimate setting, and I think that people really like that. It's that case of going not just with Steve looking at that and going, wow, he's got a physical impairment and is able to achieve all this stuff, but also to look at people who you might perceive to be successful and have them go, I've made loads of mistakes, or I've done all these things wrong, and this is how I fixed it, and I'm probably still going to make a bunch load more mistakes, but it doesn't mean you're not going to be successful. That's all part of becoming successful, is failing forward and all that stuff. So I think what's really valuable there is, in an age of social media where it's very easy to post this highlight reel, and you look at LinkedIn, and I have people message me, so you post stuff up on LinkedIn and people message me going, oh my gosh, you're smashing it at the moment, and a lot of the time I'm like, thank you very much, that's very kind of you to say so, but I wish I felt like it, because I've got so much other stuff that's going on that I feel like I'm not doing brilliantly, that actually it's great to celebrate the wins, but it's also really important to remember that everyone's got stuff that they feel and they're not succeeding at the moment. And it's very rare that someone who looks like they're smashing it on LinkedIn or wherever actually feels like that, or actually is, to the extent that you think they are. So I think it speaks to that really, and allowing delegates or attendees to not just, because it feels a little bit false to have somebody who you might perceive as successful to go on LinkedIn going, oh, we've all got our problems, blah, 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 but when they're actually there with you in the room, face to face, as it were, and they're going, oh, this thing was a blooming nightmare. Like, you wouldn't believe what happened here. Or like I just said to you off air, Ashley, like, I'm about to make a potentially very expensive mistake here. It's a different experience. So that's the sort of feedback that I think is kind of really valuable.
Yeah, and I think if we're having those conversations, if we go to a big event and the speaker's up on stage, they're up on stage, they're bigger, they're huge. Mm-hmm. But if you're in an intimate setting, oh my goodness, you're just like me.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
You are just like me, and like you said, I think that is a great thing for an event. So no, it's great, and it's great that you can share that, because everybody they look up to people like yourselves and think, oh my goodness, they must be able to walk on water and what have you. They can't see what's going on behind. You're like, we're all like swans.
Yeah,
look elegant,
absolutely.
but underneath we are thrashing around. So it's all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, and it's not just the professional stuff. I've got a blooming leak going on downstairs somewhere, which is causing me stress. And just these things sit in your head. You've got all life stuff, and then people have got families and dogs and pets and friends and dramas and all this stuff, and it's all kind of built up. And it's very rare that we couldn't share it all, otherwise it'd be this constant noise. You have to pick the stuff you share, but in a more intimate setting, you get an opportunity to get a sense of somebody, and it's not this kind of shiny, glossy, curated version of somebody. It very much is warts and all, and that I think is super valuable, because that's the stuff I find really inspiring when I see it in other people. I look at them. It's great to see the successes, but it's also great to see how they've recovered from the difficult stuff and the challenges. And that's the stuff where I'm like, yeah, that resonates. It's not just me. It's like when you chat to other practice owners. So I chat to other practice owners at the time. Practices are much bigger than mine, and we chat about what's going on, what the problems are, things like that. And it's so comforting to hear that everyone has the same problems. And it's so recruitment, cash, retention, all this stuff,
the right toilet paper,
all that stuff. It's so comforting, and you sit there and you go, oh, thank goodness it's not just me.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it doesn't make the problem go away, but at least it's kind of ubiquitous,
Yeah, absolutely. Dermot's ever so quiet there.
Keep him on mute.
I'm on mute, that's why.
It's unfair. It really is unfair, because Dermot's always got something to chip in, which is always good. So Dermot, I've got a big question for you. Are we doing it again in 2023?
Yes, of course we are.
Excellent news. And do we have dates yet?
Not yet. No, it will be similar kind of time span. So September, October. What I do want to do is just see what other events are taking place. Around the same time, we've had Accountants North, Tag, and there's a few other ones, kicking around. So we just try and get a sensible date, and then we will, plough on like a good farmer, and deliver an even better show next year.
Fantastic. And are you building this into a community, or is that for the future?
That will come along in some time. So I think we need to deliver a few. We've actually got a webinar coming up on 27th of October, 10 o'clock with Joe Edwards. So talking about personal brand. So there'll be a regular stream of webinars coming along this year.
Can anyone watch that, or do you have to?
No. These will all be open. I don't think we'll be in any kind of closed community until next year, so February 20.
Fantastic. So when you get 5 minutes, if you put the link for that in this at the end, then anybody watching this, a lot of people are going to watch this on replay because they're up there with you. Then they'll be able to go in and get that link. So yeah, that's great. And,
very kind. And please nudge me, Ashley, if I don't do that by tomorrow morning.
No, don't worry. Well, I know you're going to be busy today. I know you're going to be busy today. So I had a question for you, Lucy. I was chatting with somebody earlier, and this will resonate with you. So I'm going to put you on mute again. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry. I hate doing this. I promise you. I hate doing this. So I'm talking to somebody at the moment, and they're doing some stuff on LinkedIn and other platforms, and they're getting anxiety about the fame.
Oh, okay. Right.
Okay. And so, when you say the name Lucy Cohen, everybody knows you. All right. They know that you're going to.
Which, for the record, I find bizarre. Like that's bizarre. It's wild.
But yeah. And so this person is sort of like nowhere near your elevated status, but is getting a bit more interest on LinkedIn.
Excellent.
Okay?
Cool.
Yeah. And I said, oh, you need to do this now, obviously, because that's what I do. So, right, you need to do this, and you need to do that, and then do. Oh, I'm worried about the fame and all of that. What if I upset somebody and stuff like that? So what's your advice if somebody is in that position, please, Lucy?
Yeah, it's a really good question, Ashley. And the fame, that's hilarious. I feel like I'm Lady Gaga. This is great. It's the fame thing.
La, la, la.
I think you carry on. I think the fame thing if you want to call it that loosely, or the notoriety or being known or whatever it is. It's a byproduct of you being good at what you do and authentic. So first of all, it's your motivation for doing it. If you just want to go out there and be famous, like a Big Brother contestant or someone applies to be on a celebrity show and they want to be famous for the sake of being famous, your motivations are probably wrong, because that will get you so far, but you'll be a fast burn. I've been doing this for over 16 years, so it's plugging away. This isn't a short-term thing. I mean, granted, I'm getting on a bit now. So when I started, social media wasn't really a thing. LinkedIn was just taking off, all that kind of stuff. I know you can't tell from my youthful complexion, but social media, the world has very much changed since I started my firm, and the LinkedIn kind of fame and audience and stuff has really grown for me probably in the last 5 years, predominantly, because that's, I think, for everybody when it's kind of taken off. We've always played with PR. We've always played with being a little bit sassy, a little bit cheeky, and I quite like that. Yeah, I'm quite happy to do that. The main advice really is that as long as you can sleep at night, so you're putting out there whatever is authentically you and whatever feels right for you and sits correctly in your soul. And you have to accept that some people aren't going to agree with you and don't like it. And you have to make the decision and own the power in that. And you can't control what other people think, say, and feel, but you can control how you respond to it. So you have the power and the choice in how to respond to it. If you're going to take the praise and let that lift you up, then you have to decide what you're going to do with the negative stuff. So for me, when I get credit or praise something, it's lovely, but it doesn't define my self-worth, because my self-worth is defined by myself. So whether I get praise externally or not, it's not a validating factor for me. I do a lot of work on myself to make sure that I'm validating myself. As long as you're doing that, you're being authentic and true to who you are, and what you're posting about you're comfortable with. If you get a bit of notoriety or fame off the back of it, so be it. Great. If you don't, but you're continuing to give out the right message to the right audience and getting the responses you need, also great. But I wouldn't worry too much about the detractors or people being negative, as long as you are comfortable with what you've said and how you've behaved. And that's all that matters, really, is that you can go to bed at night going, I was the best version of me and I believe in it. And also, do you know what? If you have a moment where you're not the best version of you, you own it, you either apologize for it or you make amends and you go, I'm not going to beat myself up about it forever, because we are all human and sometimes we all have bad days. And then you move on and you don't let that define you either.
Love it. And Kim agrees. That is incredible advice. Thank you, Lucy. I knew you'd be the best person to ask. And Kim's already booked her ticket for next year, Dermot. Excellent. She's looking forward to that. So that's absolutely superb news. Right. So I'm going to let you guys go. I just want a couple of quick words before you disappear. So Dermot, you're up first. Thanks so much for not having a sausage sandwich and a cupcake and coming to say hello. Lovely to see you. Any parting words for everybody before you disappear, sir?
Just enjoy the day, and just those words which Lucy talked about. Just in her final question there about knowing your self-worth and not getting upset just because somebody that you've never heard, never going to meet, don't even know what looks like. Why on earth are you going to get upset by the nonsense that they post on social media? So yeah.
No, well, thanks.
Wise words again from Lucy. Wise words from Lucy.
It's great, isn't it? Lucy, have you got any parting words before we disappear?
Yeah, I'm going to echo that thing. Really, is that find your mentors in the right places. So find your mentors and work with people who align with your belief systems, and then you're going to be on the right path. And again, for me, authenticity always. And if you can sleep at night, you're doing it right.
No, super duper. Guys, thank you so much for joining us today. I've got Lucy coming back in a couple of weeks, so I can't wait for that. So it's one-on-one. We'll have no interruptions from Dermot.
No Dermot ruining it.
Stand back
again.
Let's have a look at that top again, Dermot, because it's great colours. Great colours.
Is lovely.
You what? Sorry.
Yeah. So if anyone's just watched this, how can they find you today? What stand are you on?
I am on stand E for Echo 6 for 6, E6, which literally you walk into the entrance and we're second row back. So can't miss us. Unipass.
Lovely to see you. Lovely to see you, Lucy. Thanks ever so much indeed. And we will be back next week. All the very best. Cheerio.